So the pyramid, which is symbolic of the one, also creates what we could call the first leg of a hierarchy. Now, symbolically speaking, the tetrad forms a tetragram that forms another series right here, and which creates a further hierarchy. But this is a tetragram. We call it tetragram, and this is this is what we could say in physics forms the basic mathematic equation that defines all of physical reality as we know it. And of course there's 10 dots here, so 10 is a complete number of 1 and 0, or I should say 0 and 1, but anyway, which is a complete cycle in terms of numeric value. And this also creates planes of existence as a hierarchy, which basically says that up here we have what we call the capstone of the pyramid. This is the one that's frequently shown with the eye in it, as being the true in nature of the one who on a physical plane of existence exists where all three aspects exist in a unified state or in a singular state on as laws that operate on the same field, that have the ability here's a key issue, that have the ability to control the four elements or the natural forces of the physical world. And when I say control, I don't mean control in the sense that you know, they have power over. I mean control in the sense that the three realizes that it is comprised of the same forces as the natural world, enters into that state by unifying with the natural forces of the world, and then using the mind, the conscious mind, to intentionally impose an idea or direct the movement or direct how those elements are structured to create a specific type of experience. We can compose the elements through degrees, percentages, that type of stuff to actually produce effects. But we have to realize what hierarchies as planes of existence show us is that it defines how the simple becomes complex through a downward movement of spirit into matter or into physical existence, right? But it also shows that each plane as a higher plane it contains the whole lower plane, and that becomes the basis for it to grow or to evolve into the next plane. So the true in mind has or contains all of the basic properties of the lower plane. And likewise, the two electromagnetic, or this combination right here, contains all of the properties of this plane, which allows it to exalt into a higher state that's completely unified. And unified can be perceived as simplified because it's singular, whereas the lower planes are complex because they appear in a ununified state, unsynthesized state that is only synthesized through moving it to a higher state, or by combining and equalizing all aspects into a higher form of existence. So this tells us, spiritual sciences works by saying that the mind actually has the ability to control and manipulate our physical reality. But we have to know we do, and we have to form a perception that allows us to understand how we do that. And so the most basic premise that you want to notice from this equation is that we don't have mastery over anything that is not us, that we actually do not contain within us as a basic part of our nature. Because the way we impose influence on systems is actually through a form of rapport or a form of cooperation, where we realize that all of those same components comprise our basic inner nature, and we enter into a state of cooperation, balance, harmony with our own nature and then direct it with our conscious mind by setting an intention for it and then using our personal will to act it out, okay? We can't control or command or direct anything that we perceive ourselves as being apart from, where we think we're over here and it's over there. And the idea is to, concentrate real hard, or, think, and draw it to us, So the idea of, I could get in trouble for saying this, but I'll say it anyway. The idea of the law of attraction creates a basic misperception, because it says that we attract to us things that are out there that move to us. And while, again, this has a basic kind of knowledge to it, in the same light, the knowledge that it contains is like a glimmer of the truth that doesn't really give us any direction or instruction as to how to actually do it. And that's because it's based on and formed out of the idea that the way we attract things to us is by finding them or visualizing them as being out there someplace and drawing them into us, instead of realizing that they're in here and going in and focusing, giving our attention to it, and amplifying that vibration as a means of forming resonance with like things that naturally gravitates it towards us. It's all about tuning into what's in us as a means of tuning into the unified field that we exist in, that all of life is comprised of, as a means of forming the vibration of that, knowing that that's going to be the beacon or the tuning device that's going to form resonance or awaken and excite the same thing in the field itself and bring it to us. So this also forms the idea of, in a lot of what we call distant healing. People have this perception of sending energy. That's not actually what we're doing. We don't send energy. All we really do is tune into the energy inside of us, give it our attention, focus on it, which amplifies it, and then it activates that same energy throughout the unified field. And if we hold in our mind the idea of a person or a specific location that we're wanting to the energy to feel, it runs along meridians, so to speak, of its own volition. We don't do anything here. That actually activates and stimulates that same quality that we're focusing on. So we're not actually sending it to somebody. And the reason that they're able to experience it is because it's appealing to that same quality in them by simply activating or awakening it in them, allowing it to come up so that they can have an experience of it. So we're not actually sending anything. We're not giving them anything they don't already have. We're simply forming a inner state that embraces that same quality, that activates it and gives it space to expand and intensify, creating pressure that allows it to activate that same quality in the other person through a form of energetic sympathy, or what we call in the physical world rapport. So by aligning with it and becoming the same as it. But this basically gives us an idea of a hierarchy move, and this also sets the basis. Of course, you want to notice combinations of 3 and 4, and this also gives us insight into how other hierarchies are formed. For example, the 7 hierarchies of the chakra system that is governed by a what we call evolution type movement, a snake-like movement that actually activates and stimulates. This movement, if it's seen as a spiraling action, is this movement looking down on it, okay? And each plane of existence, we have the top 3 chakras, which are symbolic of what we call the cap, which is the mind aspect, and then we have the 4 lower chakras, which is the body or the physical plane of existence that says that this plane of existence comprises of and forms the basic nature of this aspect, and in this aspect can grow and evolve the whole system by aligning with it and then setting an intention or using the mind through the third eye, and what we call forth by what we talk about, stories we tell about things, that serves to evolve the rest of the system. And it's no accident, I won't go into that too much because could be a whole nother class.